Post Guam, ready?
Yep, ready here.
All right, I'm going to assume that you guys are more punctual than I am. Pardon us for being a couple of minutes delayed in getting set up here. This is Congressman Nicolas. Thank you so much to our media partners for hosting us this evening, your afternoon. Thank you for making time and making your live streaming networks available so the public can receive this information in real time. I first want to begin by, well, just a lot of people to thank. Of course, let me start in order. I want to thank the Biden administration for initiating this process and for working towards bringing more relief to our communities. I particularly want to recognize the president in his remarks during the inauguration when he, I think for the first time ever, didn't just say states, but said states, tribes, and territories. For us, that was just a further affirmation that our territories are entering a new era of being given the attention that we so rightfully deserve, really, as citizens and as active contributors, and as those of us who've, had our loved ones make the ultimate sacrifice, and for all those who serve. This is a long time coming. I want to recognize our leadership in the House. Our speaker, even in our caucus calls, always says states, tribes, and territories. And in our hearings, the Financial Services Committee of the past several days, we've absolutely made sure to continue to emphasize the territorial aspect of the conversation. And so this evening, I wanted to share with our media partners and of course with the public some of the latest developments in our COVID-19 relief efforts for our island and for our people. Just as an overview, this is a budget reconciliation process. And it's a technical way of doing things. The last time this budget reconciliation process was used for a big undertaking was during the time when the Trump tax cuts were enacted several years ago. This time, that same process is being used to move forward this next round of COVID-19 relief. And so with that, there are still some committees that have yet to undergo the markup process as instructed by the Budget Committee during this reconciliation. But once the Budget Committee receives all reports of provisions back from each of the House committees, no later than the 19th of this month, the Budget Committee will send the final version to the full body for consideration. This is expected to pass. There are sufficient votes for passage in the House, and the budget reconciliation process will be immediately undertaken by the Senate as soon as they complete the impeachment proceedings. But to be perfectly clear, the provisions that have been already determined in the committees are provisions I'm comfortable going public with, because they're being closely coordinated not only with the House entirely, but also with the Senate, because it is going to be a joint budget reconciliation process. And so this information is information that has cleared the markup sessions of the particular committees that have jurisdiction over the areas that are being impacted. And because it's cleared the markup process, and because the Democrats control the House, the Democrats control the Senate, and the Democrats control the administration, because this is budget reconciliation, and because it is being closely coordinated, I'm comfortable making the people aware of what has cleared the markup process, and I'm confident to share this with the intention of it materializing into law. So to begin, we had budget reconciliation completed in the Ways and Means Committee, and it passed in the committee today. And first and foremost, it does include another round of economic impact payments. This is an additional credit of $1,400 per taxpayer, $2,800 for joint filers, plus $1,400 per dependent. It includes adult dependents. The credit does phase out between $75,000 and $100,000 of adjusted gross income, proportional to the taxpayer's income in excess of the phase out threshold over $25,000. A dependent includes both children and non-child dependents in the household for whom a social security number is associated with. This will be based on 2020 tax returns, and if not filed yet, it will be based on 2019 tax returns. The administrative costs for carrying out the program is now fully reimbursed. And to my knowledge, I believe that there should also be reimbursements for the administrative costs of the program that we've been incurring since the CARES Act. There is no clawback provision in the economic impact payments, similar to what we've had in the CARES Act, meaning because this is an advanced credit, it's not going to have to be paid in your taxes when you file. We do have some major developments, and these were, I mean, of course, the economic impact payments are major, but I'm very excited to inform our community that we have included in the language here the earned income tax credit, and it is included a provision that would require the Treasury to make payments to Guam that relate to the costs of each territory's EITC. And Guam will receive a cost reimbursement of 100% of our EITC expenditures. I'm going to repeat that. We're going to be receiving a reimbursement of 100% of our EITC expenditures. When I was in the legislature, seems like a lifetime ago, well, it was just 2 short years ago, I believe that was close to around $56 million. So our local coffers will be reimbursed that $56 million in the earned income tax credits. Territories must provide the Treasury with an annual report on the estimate of costs and a statement of costs with respect to the preceding year of the reimbursement. This is permanent and will be applied for tax year 2021 and all subsequent tax years. So this isn't just a COVID-19 relief one-time shot. This is a permanent reimbursement of the earned income tax credit that is incurred by the territory of Guam. Another major development, and this one we are very excited about, and we're actually having a difficult time, well, not a difficult time, but we're still working out how to quantify the impact, but it actually could be incredibly substantial and potentially more substantial than the reimbursement of the earned income tax credit. There is language in the bill that passed committee today, reimbursement of the child tax credits that are typically claimed on 1040s. The child tax credit will be fully refundable for 2021 and increases the amount to $3,000 per child or $3,600 for a child under 6. Because this is fully refundable, it is going to be administered in a manner similar to the economic impact payments in 2021. So to simplify, if you claim a child tax credit in your tax returns, typically you claim $2,000. That amount is going up to $3,000 if the child is older, 6 years or older. And if the child is under 6 years of age, it's going up to $3,600. But because it's being fully refundable in 2021, that amount will be actually paid out to the taxpayer this year. And so these advance payments of the child tax credit will be based on the 2020 tax return or 2019 if not filed. And the information will be delivered on a monthly basis. Advance payments under this section will begin July 1st, 2021. And so let's say, for example, just to give the public an illustration, you're a family with 3 children. You have 1 child that's over the age of 6 and 2 children under the age of 6. You're going to be getting a refunded credit of $9,600, and it will be paid to you this year. Based on the language, it could be paid to you on a monthly basis, or it could be paid to you on a one-time basis. But this child tax credit that will be paid to you directly will also be reimbursed to the government of Guam by the Treasury. So families will be receiving $3,000 per child over 6, $3,600 per child under 6. The phase outs for this is for modified adjusted gross income in excess of $150,000 per joint filer. Now, this reimbursement by the federal government for the child tax credit is going to be for this year, this special $3,000 and $3,600 increase, but it's also going to be permanent. And so the government of Guam has typically had its tax revenues reduced by the child tax credit since that credit's inception. We have been getting reimbursed over the years for the additional child tax credit, the ACTC, but we have not been getting reimbursed for the CTC, the child tax credit. I know that I'm getting a little complicated. I'll try my best to explain it. The ACTC is an additional credit on top of the child tax credit that certain tax filers qualify for, but the child tax credit has a much higher threshold. The adjustable gross income for that one for qualifying in 2019, I believe, was $400,000 for joint filers. And so we do have an unquantified positive effect on what the government of Guam revenues will be as a result of this reimbursement. I have been in communication with the Director of Revenue and Taxation, informing her of this additional language that just recently passed. I'm hoping that she can assist us in working towards quantifying that, but it could be as substantial, if not more substantial, than the earned income tax credit reimbursements. Some other notable provisions. We are exempting economic injury disaster loan grants from tax, and we're providing that such exclusion shall not result in a denial of any deductions, reduction of tax attributes, or denial of increase in basis. So basically, if you receive an EIDL loan as a business, you're not going to be paying taxes on the EIDL loan. All CARES Act unemployment programs, all of the unemployment programs will be extended to August 29, 2021. So if you qualify for pandemic unemployment assistance, it will be extended to August 29, 2021. And the federal pandemic unemployment compensation that was increased, that was reset to $300 in December, will now be going up to $400 when this is passed through to August 29, 2021. Just a quick update on the reduced hours workers on the pandemic unemployment assistance. We have continued to rally support to have the Biden administration review the guidance that was put out in the final hours of the Trump administration that has resulted in our reduced hours workers being left in limbo at this time. I'm very, very happy to say that the chairman of the Congressional Hispanic Caucus has been notified. He's also going to be joining us on letters. The full Hispanic Caucus is going to be supporting us. They're going to be rallying the Tri-Caucus, which is the Black Caucus and the Asia Pacific American Caucus, and sending letters jointly signed by our office, also to the Biden administration, and also to all congressional leadership. And the chairman of the Hispanic Caucus will be personally putting a phone call in to the Secretary of Labor when he is confirmed. In my conversations with the Biden administration, if they're going to be addressing this administratively, they're going to do so after their Secretary of Labor is confirmed. I do know that there is already movement in the Senate with respect to his nomination, and we're looking forward to the lobbying efforts that we've been undertaking throughout various channels, rendering a positive result. So again, I'm just encouraging our people, continue tracking your reduced hours circumstances, and continue to stand by. As soon as we firm that up, we will be again letting the public know. But just to reiterate, we are awaiting the confirmation of the Secretary of Labor for the Biden administration for that to be handled administratively, should that be necessary. In the Financial Services Committee, we have secured additional rental assistance for the territory. Guam will be receiving an additional $25.63 million in rental assistance on top of the rental assistance that it has already received in the various initiatives that we've gotten Guam included. We are also now in this version going to be adding on top of that rental assistance, homeowners assistance for those who have mortgages that need to be funded. $13.2 million will be sent to Guam no later than 45 days after enactment of the reconciliation, and that will also be available for mortgage assistance. Not less than 60% of the amounts made to any agency shall be used for qualified expenses that assist homeowners having incomes equal to or less than 100% of the area median income. Funds to be used for preventing homeowner mortgage delinquencies, defaults, foreclosures, loss of utilities or home energy services, and displacement of homeowners experiencing financial hardship after January 21, 2020, through qualified expenses related to mortgage and housing assistance. Additionally, we have a much larger ramp up in the state small business credit initiative funding that's going to be available to the territory. This is funding that can basically underpin small business loans with guarantees that this funding will be providing. And this should help our small businesses further access bank capital if they need to be able to fund their operations. We are estimating that our 0.9% minimum allotment based on the total allotment for SSBCI will come out to about $85 million for the territory, which is a dramatic increase from the $13 million that was initially rolled out in previous programs and previous program funding for this purpose. The Paycheck Protection Program is, the PPP is currently ongoing. There's an additional $5 billion that's available to that. There is some expansion language for nonprofit organizations. So I would encourage nonprofit organizations to take a second look at PPP after this budget reconciliation passes, because you are perhaps going to be eligible with the new provisional language that's being included. For those, in part, there is an additional language here for eligibility for internet publishing organizations. I know we have some internet news-based entities on the island. This waives affiliation rules for internet-only news and periodical publications, as long as the organization has not more than 500 employees per physical location, or whatever the applicable SBA standard is. So for those internet-based news organizations, if you weren't eligible for PPP, this language would likely make you eligible if your reasons for ineligibility may have been affiliation related. Of particular interest would be the establishment of a restaurant revitalization fund. This will provide $25 billion for a new program that the SBA will be offering to assist restaurants and other food and drinking establishments. $5 billion of this amount is set aside for businesses with less than $500,000 in 2019 annual revenue. This restaurant revitalization fund is on top of the PPP. I know we have a lot of restaurant establishments. We have a lot of our workers in those establishments. And so over and above PPP, we've been able to have additional funding provided specifically for restaurants, with $5 billion set aside for businesses with less than $500,000 in 2019 annual revenue. Grants are available for up to $10 million per entity, with a limitation of $5 million per physical location. Entities are limited to 20 locations. I don't even think we have that many McDonald's on Guam, so we should be good to go there. Grants are calculated by subtracting 2020 revenue from 2019 revenue. During the first 21 days, applications from restaurants owned and operated, controlled by women, veterans, or socially and economically disadvantaged individuals will receive priority. Grants may be used for a wide variety of expenses, including payroll, mortgage, rent, utilities, supplies, food and beverage expenses, paid sick leave, and operational expenses. There is also a targeted economic injury disaster loan allotment that's been included, a lump sum of $15 billion for that. And it directs the SBA to solely address any potential funding shortfalls in the first 28 days after enactment to ensure that remaining eligible businesses can access the $10,000 grant. Beginning 28 days after enactment, the SBA is directed to make any remaining funding available for supplemental grants to severely impacted small businesses that have suffered a loss of at least 50%, are located in a low-income census tract as defined by Section 45DE of the Internal Revenue Code. That's pretty much a significant component of our community, and that these grants are being provided to businesses that have 10 employees or fewer. In the event funding remains available after 42 days, the revenue loss threshold is lowered to 30%, allowing substantially impacted businesses to apply for the $5,000 supplemental grants. Again, the restaurant support and the EIDL's additional EIDL support, those are grants. And so we encourage our establishments to pay close attention to those. Tomorrow is the markup for the Oversight and Reform Committee. And I do want to share this information because it is an area of concern, and it's also something very relevant to some of the discussions about our tax policies locally. On the markup session for tomorrow, language is included in this markup for state and local fiscal recovery funds. This is basically support for local governments. We have been able to have language specific for territories, and reserved for Guam would be $661 million in relief for the local government. The allowable expenses for this $661 million will be to respond to or mitigate the public health emergency with respect to the COVID-19 disease or its negative economic impacts. It would cover costs incurred as a result of such emergency, replace revenue that was lost, delayed, or decreased as determined based on revenue projections for the state, tribal government, or territory as of January 27, 2020 as a result of such emergency. Another allowable expense will be to, as a very broad allowable expense, address the negative economic impacts of the emergency. So the government of Guam, I know that our governor, our former governor, Carl Gutierrez, reached out seeking support for GVB, for example, because they're suffering a severe revenue shortfall. This $661 million would be a part of a pot of money that government of Guam will receive that should be able to help restart and revitalize our tourism industry as we try to get back onto the road of recovery. The $661 million would be on top of and really be an added benefit to the amounts that are already adopted by the local government in the FY 2021 budget. And so we're looking forward to that funding, absolutely going to support, of course, our COVID-19 response. But as has been the concern shared by local leadership, I wanted to make them aware that this funding will also be available to address revenue shortfalls and the negative impacts, the negative economic impacts of the COVID-19 emergency. That basically summarizes the information that I wanted to share with the community, with our island leadership, with our media partners. I'll go ahead and pause now. Please forgive me if I'm a little off. It's been pretty exhausting. It's been a long couple of days. Guam has we really stepped up to the plate. We've chaired on numerous occasions the actual markup sessions in the Financial Services Committee. I do want to recognize my fellow territorial delegates for their active roles in really helping to advocate for all of this. This isn't a Mike Nicolas thing. This is a team territory thing. And, you know, it's going to absolutely provide relief for all of our territories. And we're really doing a phenomenal job of, within our respective areas, making sure that we're securing resources for everybody under the territorial circumstances, so that we're all going to make sure that um, this new approach and this new attention that's being paid to territories in these days is going to result in as much help for our people as possible during these times. With that, I'll go ahead and pause here. Eli, if you're on, I'm not sure if you're able to unmute, but if you can go ahead and moderate for any questions from our media partners present on the call.
Yes, thank you, Congressman. Please, I have placed, if anyone has a question, you may identify yourself in the chat.
Hi, Congressman.
Hi, Heidi, go ahead.
You mentioned that the FPAC would be increased from 300 to 400. But what about the PUA? Will it still stay at 345?
Acknowledge that figure has not changed. And so PUA still remains at 345 as a maximum. Of course, again, same standards offset by whatever earned income offsets that figure for the individual circumstances. So it's only the FPUC, the FPUC, that's going up from $300 to $400.
And to clarify that, there is no specific language in this bill that would say reduced work hours are included in the PUA program. Like a clear language.
That is correct. That is correct. And again, and similar to what I've shared earlier on that conversation, it is the position of the Congress that statutory language is not necessary, that this is administrative in nature and that it needs to be remedied administratively. And again, the cause for concern in attempting to legislate that would be the implications that it would have for the payment of the reduced hours workers prior to any such language actually being enacted. And so I absolutely agree with the advisement that we have been getting from our congressional counterparts. This needs to be addressed administratively, and we're looking forward to that happening. And we're rallying all the support possible, and our friends and our colleagues are answering the call. So I'm very confident that we're going to see a favorable outcome of that. But again, the situation is just pending the confirmation of the Labor Secretary, their ability to, of course, situate themselves in their offices and, excuse me, and then get to work on addressing circumstances such as ours that need to be remedied because of the adverse impact it's having in the spirit of the law that enacted the PUA and made it available for reduced hours workers to begin with.
If I may, one more question.
Of course.
Initially, there was a proposal to raise the federal minimum wage to $15 an hour. Is that off the table for now?
I do not have any updates on that. And if we do have any kind of firm movement on that, that would make me confident to make such information public, then we would. But at this time, I have no updates on the discussions about the $15 minimum wage adjustment.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We next have Eric Rosario.
Hi, Eric, you might be on mute. I don't think you're on mute. Your microphone might be having an issue. Eric, I think you're having a technical difficulty. So
now?
I think I can. Is that Johnny?
Yeah, it's Johnny, not Eric. Sorry, guys.
Okay.
Half a day, Congressman. Thank you for all of this. The Liangre administration is going to have an easier time getting this. This package really seems like it's going to touch everybody. You know, no one's going to be left behind. And I just want to say thank you. We do have a question, and this is pertaining to the PUA. A lot of people here do have reduced hours, and they are listening to you and keeping track of their hours and their time. They just want to know if this would be able to be retroactive, or are we moving forward?
If the guidance is reversed, it will be retroactive, and so I'm confident that there will be a lump sum accumulation when the guidance is overturned and the claims are filed and the payments are made.
Great. Okay, that's it. Thank you so much, Congressman.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Nestor Licanto.
Thank you. Have a day, Congressman.
Hi, Nestor.
On the EITC, could you elaborate more on how we were able to get that? I think that's something we've been trying to get for quite a while, the reimbursement of EITC. And would it be also be possible to claim prior years EITC payments and get reimbursed for those?
Oh man, you guys just keep raising the bar, don't you? We were able to move the EITC forward because we have a great team, really. We have a great team on both sides of the hemisphere, and everybody just works very, very hard to try and make these things a reality for the island and the people of Guam. And I want to absolutely recognize their work. I mean, whether we're hosting guardsmen or whether we're hosting congressmen, it's all a part of the formula that has resulted in us being able to move these items forward. I also absolutely need to credit again my fellow territorial colleagues, because when we're all singing from the same sheet of music, and we're all able to very effectively articulate the needs to have those things addressed, that's a huge plus for us. And so I don't want to reveal too many of my secrets, because then I might not get reelected. Those are industry secrets. No, but in all seriousness, it's just our work ethic, our team effort, and I got to give credit to our Lord as well for giving us the strength and the wisdom to be able to just sometimes be in the right place, the right time, and say the right things, and that's just. I guess that's where it all originates, and that's absolutely where the credit needs to go.
When do you think the bill's going to pass, and how soon do you expect the $1,400 EIP payments to be paid out?
This is a budget reconciliation, and so there is absolutely a sense of urgency. I believe I mentioned here, the Budget Committee needs to receive all reports of provisions back from each of the House committees no later than February 19th, 2021. I know my colleague, Congressman Sablan, was in his respective committee till maybe almost 4 o'clock in the morning. We were working over 12-hour sitting in hearings for 12 hours at a time, just in the Financial Services Committee. All the committees are under a very abbreviated timeline, to move out the provisions, because the budget needs to be reconciled. And so this will be happening before the end of the month, I'm confident. And as for the $1,400 EIP payments, those of course will be effective upon enactment, and our Department of Revenue and Taxation, who's already working very hard right now, because it's tax season, is going to have a little bit more to do to work again with IRS. But I'm looking forward to a lot of the infrastructure and groundwork that's already been laid with the previous EIP payments to pretty much carry forward and allow these things to be paid out expeditiously. So it's really just a matter of the work getting done, and the funds getting out.
And the $661 million in local government relief, will that be similar to like the CARES Act? That's like a a direct pot of money that goes directly for the administration to allocate, or would it have to go through like the legislative process?
That would, to my knowledge, that would be similar to the CARES Act funding, but with a lot less restrictions, and so they'll be able to address revenue shortfalls and similar provisions.
Okay, and are you still on the same committees, or have you added any committees to your workload?
We are on the same committees. We are on the Financial Services Committee and the Natural Resources Committee. A lot of members are really jockeying for committees, particularly exclusive committees such as ours, such as Ways and Means, and so there are other members who are serving on multiple committees, but unfortunately, if we are on an exclusive committee like Guam is in the Financial Services Committee, we're moved to the bottom of the list in trying to wave on to more than one additional committee. So we are on the Financial Services Committee and the Natural Resources Committee as we were in the previous term.
Okay, and one final question. For the Restaurant Revitalization Fund, you said that would go through the SBA?
Let me refer to my notes real quick on that. I want to make sure I give you accurate information because I'm sure all of our restaurants and our restaurant employees are eagerly listening to that.
Yeah,
Yes.
I imagine a lot of restaurants would be interested.
25 billion for a new program at the SBA. So this will be SBA administered.
Okay, and do you know offhand if those are grants or loans?
These are grants.
And do you know how much, what the ceiling is or the cap per applicant?
Grants are available for up to $10 million per entity. So very expensive, fancy restaurants will be good to go. There is a limitation of 5 million per physical location, and entities are limited to 20 locations.
All right, thanks, Congressman.
You're welcome.
At the moment, I have no one else on queue for questions. If there is anyone with a question, please enter on the chat.
I have one more.
Sure, Heidi, you can ask as many as you need to. Go ahead.
Congressman, when will you deliver your annual report?
I've been putting a lot of thought into that, and of course we've been having to figure out our time out here as well. I was hoping maybe sometime in March, but I haven't firmed up a date on that yet, and I need to also coordinate with my team. We have a very long list of things to cover in what we've accomplished and in what we're looking forward to, and I'm already making my team work extraordinary hours to get us into these things and get us to receive these to receive this much needed support. So my team is listening. You guys heard they're asking. So I know that we're still covering things right now, but that's just another work item that we're going to be getting to. So for my team on the call, please start pulling those items together. So yeah, I was hoping in March, but we'll give you a firm date on that when I'm comfortable that we're prepared for it. I want to be ready for the people of Guam.
At the present moment, there are still no other questions in queue, Congressman.
If there are no further questions from our media partners, again, thank you all very much for always making yourselves available and for making your platforms available. The people of Guam are very grateful to you as well for all the work that you do in keeping them informed and in helping to facilitate the flow of information from all of us out here on the other side of the world directly onto their phones, onto their computers, and into their living rooms. I am getting a signal that I may have one more question, so I'll pause here and go ahead and stand by.
Hi, Congressman.
Hello.
Hi, this is Oya calling from the Guam Daily Post. Just a really quick question. Can you just reiterate, sir, the numbers for the rental assistance and the mortgage assistance?
Yes. For rental assistance, we have an additional $25.63 million coming through for that. And for mortgage assistance, we have $13.2 million that will be coming through for that.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. Are there any further questions?
At this moment, I have no one else on queue, Congressman. My apologies. Thank you.
No, we're good. Thanks, Eli. Again, thank you all very much. We're proud to serve the people of Guam. It really is the honor of a lifetime. We're doing our very best to continue making sure that we're getting the resources that we need during these very difficult times. But I'm just so ecstatic about the fact that some of these changes that we're sharing this evening are permanent changes, and they're going to result in permanent improvements in our resources. And those permanent improvements are going to go a long way towards remedying some of the shortfalls that we've been dealing with. I would like to just take an opportunity to very respectfully advise our local leadership that when these resources become available, these are resources that we've been trying to get for a very long time, and they're going to be transformative for our island. But we need to make sure that we're very prudent in how we utilize them. Because if we take this opportunity and squander it, we're not going to have another opportunity. I hope that we've learned a lot of lessons from the past on the need for us to have a very mindful approach on taking on more debt as a means to monetize additional revenues. I hope we've learned a lot of lessons about taking improvements in our cash flow and using it for increasing permanent expenses that ultimately have a ceiling, really, in our ability to continue to invest those resources. When we get these funds and when we have these permanent changes, let's do good by our people. Let's do good by our people and fix things that have been waiting to be fixed, and invest in things that are going to last a long time, and not spend money for political purposes, but spend it for the right purposes. And with that, I'll just stop there. I want to be a voice of encouragement and optimism, and I am optimistic that with these opportunities, we're going to change the course of our fiscal circumstances and improve the quality of life of our people. Si Diyos Masi, again, to our media partners, and thank you all very much to the people of Guam. Adios.